to do a tag team match on this show where it was going to be Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll against Randy Orton and Pat McAfee. Until Pat McAfee spared us all and said, I don't want to have anything to do with this anymore. Goodbye. My job here is done. My planet needs me.
Let's request now. Are you prepared?
Of course it would be Jelly Roll. I'll be very surprised if it turned out to be anybody other than Jelly Roll in that spot. That's the perhaps the deal is falling apart. Paul Heyman takes the contract, and he says, I'll handle this. And off he goes. But as I mentioned, Cody was on his way to the ring, and that was a ring in a familiar place, because tonight they were in Jacksonville. I think Cody's got a little bit of history there in Jacksonville, Florida. So, Jacksonville, what do you want to talk about? He starts off talking about how Gunther put him to sleep last week, as SmackDown does to me every single week. Last week, though, was Gunther putting Cody to sleep. And he says that was a sign, he took that as a sign that he must want a shot at the WWE Championship. With that in mind, Cody called him out. He didn't get Gunther, though, he got Paul Heyman. Heyman came out, contracted him, and he said, this is a contract for a WWE Championship match. Cody wanted to know, so are you the advocate now for Gunther? Are you his new advocate? And he goes, no, I'm not his advocate, but I owed him a favor, and so basically this is him cashing in on that favor. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, what a waste of a favor. Because even Cody here was like, hey,
everyone here has been doing well, Hunter.
Let's get him out of here. We'll have a little rumble here in Jacksonville. And he was ready to throw that into the match tonight. This is Cody's whole shtick since he won at WrestleMania and held on to the championship, which is not hard to find, but hard to beat. He said it like 3 times today. I'm not hard to find, but I'm hard to beat. So, what did he need to use Heyman for to get a title shot against Cody? Right? The only way it makes sense is if the actual favor wasn't the title match, it was Heyman getting him on SmackDown. That's why I said that last week. If the favor itself is getting him a championship match, it makes no sense. It's a waste. You didn't have to go in Paul Heyman. You just show up on SmackDown like every other fucking person from Monday Night Raw who doesn't need a permission slip to show up on this show. Just show up and say, hey, Cody, you're a bitch. I want a shot at your belt. What do you think Cody's going to do? You pull his punk card and he's going to say no. You didn't Paul Heyman for that. What a waste of a favor. Heyman said, I'm not Gunther's advocate. He said that, I'm also, though, a huge fan of yours. And he asked for Cody's permission to get into the ring. He goes, this contract is for a title match, but this contract is not for Jacksonville. And the crowd booed that. They didn't like that. He goes, it wasn't even for the United States, which drew loud USA chants. No, should Cody accept the challenge, this battle will take place in Turin at Clash in Italy. Heyman handed Cody the contract folder, said that if you want Gunther's name on it, you're going to have to get it yourself. My job here is done. And he went to go leave, and Cody said, you know, Brock Lesnar retired on you. Roman Reigns wants nothing to do with you. CM Punk just kind of discarded you. Question whether Heyman was all out of options. And Heyman said, I'm not the one running out of options. Sooner or later, they all need the wise man. And he exited the ring. He made his way probably halfway down the aisle before Gunther, as last week, once again snuck in through the crowd, but this time Cody was expecting him. So as soon as he slid into the ring, Cody went to work on him, but he got Cody in the sleeper. But Cody was able to get out of the predicament. Ended up knocking Gunther out of the ring. And he is on the mic and he is shouting at Gunther, I don't sweat you. I don't sweat you. Said it doesn't matter if you beat Goldberg and AJ Styles and the greatest of all time. Says, I'm easy to find, hard to beat. Gotta get that new catchphrase over. So,
let's get
like
to
it.
We have supplies that will be useful for the quest.
My favorite of you is putting in a good word with Nick Aldis. They are simple. The whole thing is very simple. They have not been innocent humans, right? They created it. It takes the need. These things. It comes to letting back and forth. You need to just there and say, adapting to the situation. Good times there. Candyman there in the fucking, crowd. Easy to find, hard to be. Big guy in the bathroom. We got Mr. Janitor. Hard to be. It's like his favorite.
Let's head to the turret.
Right? Which is actively going on now. I came out last week and I said, you know what, I don't need this thing. It's not a terrible idea. What's terrible is the overloads of challenges that we have in wrestling and WWE.
Great!
They might be able to get to the end of next level and eventually take the range. because from the beginning of all of this career shit, if you want to protect Gunther and keep him unbeaten throughout this entire period, and make him dominant, right? And in the end, whatever that may be, a year from now, you ideally would have someone new sent, right? Be a person. That's the kind of person that you need to be for the end of this. So honestly, that was 6 months per year. That's and we can move on. That's broken frames. And also, I love the fact that he's on a brand. It's SmackDown that you share the same brand. I guess outside of competing with the other they're the same brand. As far as brands go, like that, I think that match
things are going our way!
They have wrestling that Randy worked with me since I'm all. Maybe they have to do with under Randy. Personally, I think that was that dragon out there really good. Trying to build these guys up. They did a good job. Carmelo Hayes. It took a while. It didn't happen right away. It took a while for them to get there, but he started to really get over the audience. And the reason he was getting over it wasn't because of anything really out on the side. One match he was having on TV. Dragon was a different kind of cat.
Good to have you.
You know what to expect when he's in there wrestling. And Briggs. It's like chaos. Knows everything. There again. It's not as good for it to be true. They start to get over the side of it. being on television is so important. They don't be there every week, but at least every other week, they have to show their face. They have to be doing something meaningful on these shows. And for them to just kind of drop off the face of the earth like that just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Backstage, Tama Tonga told Solo Sikoa that Roy's keys was a problem that needed to be dealt with. Solo said he sees keys as more of a solution. Keys would be a permanent addition to their family. And Thomas said that Keys embarrassed him in front of everybody and it doesn't sit right with him. So he said that he was going to go handle business. And he left. And Tama Tonga tried to follow, and Solo held him back and said, if Tama wants to go out there alone, let him find out on his own. We'll come back to this in a little bit. We had Rookie Saints against QB4, Matt Cardona. Not a great crowd response. Last week, Ricky made his debut in Tulsa, and a lot of people just didn't seem to know who he was.
Yes.
Because he went out there, and also he got one hype package on TV the week before he debuted, and that was it. So he went out there last week, and the reaction was just very lukewarm. This week in Jacksonville, which is a place where the people there should know who he is, and I would say the response really wasn't much better than it was last week. It's going to take time. Then again, I was saying that about Julia, and here we are now, how many months later, and nothing has changed. So they fought into a break. Coming out of the commercial break, Cardona was starting to build some momentum. The Broski boot connects. The fans were so invested in this match, though, that they started to chant, hey, 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 goodbye, to someone in the crowd. Obviously, somebody got ejected. There was a fight. I don't know. Something was going on in the crowd that was more interesting than this match.
SOS Flare paint
Saints
over
rolled out of the
here.
ring to avoid a Rough Rider, but as he got
You
back
received
inside, he got dropped with one
Don't let them
anyway.
go to waste.
Not enough, though, to get Cardona the dub. The Saints hit his Revolution DDT and then finished Cardona off with the Rochambeau. But this was a decent piece of business here. They got a pretty decent amount of time. I think about 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes. It was one of those matches that felt you know, matches like this are what I expect to be useful when it comes to, you know, getting appearances here on the show. I look at Ricky Saints, fan of, and it's great. Style of character building. They're doing it to some degree now in Blake Monroe. Those vignettes are very basic and vanilla and boring. But that is the sort of thing I'm talking about here. Ricky Saints would have benefited from that. Imagine if they had 6 weeks worth of vignettes. Like creative vignettes of Ricky Saints doing something that you would expect Ricky Saints to be doing. Before he ever set foot in a ring on SmackDown. They called so many people up recently, and a lot of them were called up the exact same thing. Think about this, right? Think about this. Femi is kind of a special case, because I think Obafemi, everybody knows Obafemi means sky's the limit for him. He's going to guys right? Right? He's not like Monday, the Chief, Monday, the Chief, Monday, the Chief, stating that she agreed on the best they've ever done. This is the best. Team of Michelle Box, Nick Perez, and Raquel Rodriguez anytime, any place. To the DX Jeep, not a tank. I think some people have convinced themselves, because they put the thing on the front, that it was an actual tank that they were riding. It's a fucking Jeep that they were riding around. And there's the gingerbread man in the street, kind of in the background doing a crotch job, as they were trying to invade WCW Monday Nitro. And then they showed the gingerbread man in the crowd being shot after Brock Lesnar entered the Undertaker's undefeated streak. Very good. I said at the beginning that the first time they were doing this, I was amused. I took it over and over and over again throughout the entire show. It gets fucking old. Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss against Fatal Influence, Jacy Jayne, Fallon Henley, and Blaney Reed. The weeks of Bruce Pritchard. All I'll say is, remember what Ronda Rousey said. As long as Bruce is there, he is an avatar for Vince McMahon. It would not at all surprise me. After a break, Blaney Reed was working over Rhea. Ripley fought out. She made the tag to Charlotte. She was lighting up Reed and Jacy with chops. Came off the top rope with a double crossbody to Laney and Dane. Double natural selection to both women. Alexa Bliss tagged in. Jacy's rolling encore got countered into his sister Abigail attempt by Bliss. No dice though. Ripley on the apron. Jade Cargill shows up. Or is I have to say it the way Joe Test does. Jade Cargill showed up. And she yanked Rhea off the apron. She fell down face first onto the steel steps. And that got this encore from Jacy Jayne to connect in the ring for pin on Alexa Bliss.
Let's be on our way.
That is back-to-back pinfall wins now for Jacy Jayne over Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, two former women's world champions. She's doing pretty well for herself so far. I would say outside of Open Heavy. Maybe was called up a little bit earlier, but outside of Open, she's probably doing better than anybody. So after the match, Jade got into the ring, and Alexa's on the mat in the corner. Like laying, not like sitting, but laying on the mat. And like looking, and I'm typing up some notes here, and nothing's happening. Jade is just standing there. The camera's very tight on her, and she's talking shit to Alexa. What the hell? Like, something coming out. Like, what are we waiting for here? And the referee said something to Jade, communicated something to her. I don't know what she said. But it felt like they were stalling for something and waiting for someone to come out. And then finally, we see Michin and B-Fab. As Charlotte Flair is about to slide into the ring, Legion and Beefat did the same
Well,
stuff.
boys, I placed the items I
I guess
gathered.
they got held up, or they missed their cue. I don't know what happened, but it looked like they were late on the call there. So they went after Charlotte. And she took care of that.
Thanks.
She ended up eating Jason gave it it's not for Jason. Like the fact that Spain was we have to make register. And I think it gives that a good shot. So, right, that's what you might say for the show. Shadow, stuff with Jade, so yeah, she won. It's not been happening. As far as that running back, Rhea and Jade, I expect the match to be that. And they could still add. I guess it's over. It's too late now. They could have added it tonight if they wanted to. They could have added it to the Backlash card to give us 6 matches. God forbid. We should get 6 matches in Italy. So I guess they'll get it in Italy, I guess, at the end of the month. But nobody should be surprised about this. Jade was always going to get her rematch. It's going to be a Backlash and then some other team. So before Rhea can move on to whoever that next challenger is going to be, they're going to get at least one more match, maybe more than one. They're going to get at least one more match after the Nickel stipulation. I say I expect people to have Despite Solo Sikoa telling Tama Tonga in the back earlier in the night that they were going to let Tama go up there on his own, they came to the ring with him. So, okay. After a break in the action, Keys will make it a comeback, get a running house. So the straps come down. The old Damian Priest, down come the straps. So he's feeling it. Hammer slam, gets the 2 count. He picks up Tama. He got reversed into an inverted DDT for a near fall. So he sent Tama up over the top rope first. And he was getting ready to go after Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga outside of the floor. The MFT had backed away. They were like, no. He wants to do it on his own. He wants to fight his own battles. He's going to do it himself. They weren't looking at a finger to help Tama Tonga. So Tama attempted to dive on the top rope. Like Keys. Picked up. And so we have to go down the a discussion about something, and I brought up Spencer Gibson. I brought those laser bolts. I have one of those. Yeah, it's in a closet somewhere, but I actually have one. I kind of cool because you put your hand on it, and the laser follows your hand around. It's got some bucks. So he's got one of those on display. It's like he's in a science lab, right? And then next to him is coming out of some sort of chamber that he's created. You see lights flickering on the inside of it. And it says like clone machine, whatever it was. It only matters back in the day when he had like a similar kind of contraption. And then Stefan or Cal, that's basically what this thing is. He's got a computer, I think shit into the computer, sparks start flying, everything shit is getting fired. It doesn't work. I don't feel like I'm watching a wrestling show. I feel like sometimes I'm watching a parody of a wrestling show. That's what SmackDown feels like sometimes. It feels like a parody of a wrestling show. After the break, Thomas was like that. Very dejected after his loss. He didn't stay on more shows. This guy just he will not let shit lay. He will not leave this man alone. And Nakamura is very disappointed in Tom. Even Thomas off-road won't help him. So Tala Tonga shows up, tells Nakamura back off. And Nakamura says something in Japanese, and I guess we'll see if we get a match between Nakamura and Tala Tonga next week. It's instead of, liquor and milk. At least I hope that's what it was. So there was a wire in the ring. Tricked out Mike. And he asked all of us to bear with him. And they played some sad music. And he delivered I guess what you would call a song style, not strong style, a song style eulogy. Basically, the gist of it is he wants to know why the gingerbread had to die. I'm pretty sure it has to do with mental illness running rampant on the creative team. That's not the sort of thing that could really fit into those rap style lyrics. I think that's what we're dealing with here, though. So then they just went all out again with the AI shit, but like in video or slideshow form, where we see a whole montage, a tribute to the Gingerbread Man, showing images of him from birth, all the way through the college years, his sports years. I think they showed him as an astronaut, one of them were off the fucking moon or something. All these, like, the highlights of his life. So there's a light gingerbread chant at the end of all this Trick then calls for a moment of silence. So of course Sami Zayn comes out. He has heard enough. He has seen enough of this.
Yes.
So out he comes.
Any
He's
questions you wanna go on?
people putting up with this nonsense. He thinks he's losing his mind because this has gone all night. Yeah, you're not the only one who feels that way. You know, but the fans booed him when he came out. He was just incredulous. You couldn't believe it. You're booing me. You're watching all of this shit and you boo me. Coming out to interrupt this. Says he thinks he's losing his mind that this has gone on all night. Says TV time on SmackDown used to mean something. Yeah, tell me about it. Closing an episode meant something. The U.S. Championship meant something. Now it's all just a joke. A couple of weeks ago, Trick said
Join them.
Sami asked him, how much money did you spend on this stupid shit? Between all the roses, the casket. He saw the casket earlier. It's solid oak, he said. Solid oak.
Commencing mission.
The AEW announce desk. Sami would never do this because he respects himself. He respects the show. He respects the fans who make their murder. You know what? Ads this. At this point, if you're paying to these TKO prices to go see this shit, then you get exactly what you deserve. You can no longer pay for a ticket to a WWE event. How much money it may be. And then complain when you get your usual WWE/TKO slot that they give you on these shows. Like, at this point, there's no excuse. Like, that's on you. It's not on anybody else. That's on you. And if you want to great. So take it. Casket with the gingerbread man was right behind it. And so you knew that someone was in the house. Last week it was a mannequin. It was very clear there was nobody in the house. And this time it was very clear that somebody was going to sit up. And sure enough, the gingerbread man does the Undertaker zombie sit up in the casket. It pulls the head off, and it's the Undertaker.
Such lovely coloration. Is it due to environmental
Show
factors?
where we already had Danhausen with his cloning machine. Yeah, Asuka's very upset about this show. On the show where you had Danhausen and his cloning machine, we did not need all of the gingerbread stuff for 3 hours. Like, I'm sorry. Like, all of the times I'm watching this show, like, what the fuck am I watching? There's a backlash show. At least Trick and Sammy actually have a match on that show. Imagine how much worse it would have been if they weren't even wrestling on Backlash. And this show somehow gets worse and worse and worse to sit through every single week. It's painful sometimes to sit through these shows. And just this feeling of nothing. Just nothing. I watch some of these shows on Friday, I feel nothing. In some cases, I don't understand. Oh. 10 out of 10. To first hour. And those matches are going to be Braun Breaker against Seth Rollins. I believe it's going to be won by Braun Breaker. I believe the Trick Williams Sami Zayn US title match is the other match on it for one. Again, my prediction, Sami Zayn wins back the United States Championship, which I think is a must. If you want to keep this going for a little while longer, Sami's got to win the belt back. Trick loses nothing. Sami, provided Sami wins the belt by nefarious means. Not advocating Sami Zayn go in there and just beat him clean with a haluva kick. But I'm going to say, when was the last time Asuka had a match on a PLE? And when was the last time Asuka had a singles match? Yeah. Let's see if we can find